Hello, Internet Sir Mutton Chops here. Welcome back to Unrest. This is the third and last little part before we skedaddle on over to our monk. And as you can see here, I've got a grimoire, page 26. I mentioned that in the first episode, and somehow still held on to it without destroying it. So I went ahead and handed it over to him. I have no idea what to do with it. I usually just merchant it. Unless it's words that I can recognize, I just get rid of them. Pretty much ignorant and remaining that way. And, well, this is quite the train, yes. Accidentally right-clicked there as I toggle around with right-click on my mouse. And, yeah, it was a little annoying. You occasionally loot on accident, but can't complain as a cleric who you don't really get much time to loot anyway, so take what you can get, and I guess don't complain, as I've just done. But right now, it's all about keeping Lunarian alive. Yeah, he's got all the aggro, and now I've got almost all the aggro, so my job is done, I think. I've used up most of my mana to keep him alive. If I can get a heal off in between and keep him alive, that would be most beneficial. Unfortunately, we've gotten an ad, so what looked like what was going to be doable has now turned into a shit moment. That was a very dick move by that Darkbone skeleton, popping up like that. Now, I'm opening this door not to run like a cowardly dog, but just to get a good look to make sure that I can sit over here without anything aggroing me. I'm not too worried about the death beetles. You'll see them here in a minute. They're going to make an entrance as if we didn't have enough going on here. Now, everything is pretty much in control. All the mobs, except for one, are mesmerized. So it's looking promising, but we have to hurry up. It's a race against time, as anyone knows, in a group like this, with an enchanter and very little in the way of crowd control. I do have root, as does the shaman, but that's not going to really help us, especially when we're focusing on healing our enchanter so he doesn't die. Yeah, so it's pretty much all in his hands and in luck, because, well, mesmerize is pretty much as fickle as root, so right now, we're just going to sit on pins and needles and see how these things play out. These things being these mobs. And, well, it didn't bode well for us. The other Darkbone went unmez. And, yeah. But luckily Nularian was quick with the mez there, not wanting to die. I'm going to focus on healing the tank and Lunarian, as they are the main focal points. If they die, everything else kind of falls down. It's a house of cards. I think the tank is like the trunk or the torso of the body, and I guess that would make the enchanter the nuts, because you don't want to get kicked in the nuts. That just cripples you. That just brings you down, brings you to your knees, which I guess would make Cleric's the face, because if you're getting punched in the face, you're like, not the face, not the face, but then you start getting kicked in the nuts, and you're like, alright, the face, the face. So you gotta protect certain parts of the body. And the monk is kind of the extremity, not to put him out there and leave him on a limb, so to speak. But yeah. Now, it looks like I just got aggro there from these death beetles all on my own, but if you watch closely, the enchanter got the aggro, and well, I was under the impression that I just screwed everything up. So yeah, now I'm on a rescue mission here. They're aggroing just about everything else, so I'm deciding, all right, go ahead, self-sacrifice. Let's get the aggro back on me. These are just light blue cons anyway. Let's try to get everything focused and maintain some kind of semblance of order here, but as you can see, it's all gone to shit. It has effectively been ruined. So yeah, our enchanter is down. He's gone, down for the count. It's time to haul ass, get out of here, and I don't know where our monk is. That is a problem. He may have gotten rooted. He may have lost track of where we went. I'm not too sure if he's familiar with the zone. I tried to stay back as long as possible. I was even thinking about going back and getting him, but as you can see, his hit points are decreasing pretty steadily, and it's a lost cause. So, yeah, every man for himself, every woman for herself. There are no children in this game, so it's ladies first, and then us guys. Actually, our shaman is a guy. He's going to end up leaving here after this shortly, because he said he had to make breakfast for his girlfriend, and, well, no. You gotta take care of real life first, as I always say. And very important, ladies, make sure that your relationships are intact. And, you know, if you're so unlucky as to have a relationship, tisk tisk, then you won't be able to continue on getting that experience. So, yeah, priorities. The nerd has spoken. Experience is more important than getting laid. Oh, good. Yeah, that's your skill in talking to ladyfolk has decreased by 2 points, and I can't earn those back, I guess. But whatever, we've survived. We're gonna lick our wounds. Very important to have. I'll stress it again, very important to have an egg timer. Unless you're good with napkin math and you just have great intuition. I did not see that Darkbone skeleton showing up. He made a wonderful little fashionably late appearance and decided to whip our asses and make everything defunct. And for that, I hate him. I hate him entirely. His very core of his being, or his unbeing, because he's no longer existing, but he still exists. I don't know. I'm not too up on my undead and zombie stuff and all that lore. I should bone up on it. No pun intended. But yeah, I do realize that I may have gone into detail about some of these things a little too much, as I'm pretty sure most of you do understand the general mechanics of this game and have played it for quite some time. A lot of you have played it even more than I have. With the level 60s and beyond. Myself, I never got anywhere near there. But I'm just kind of laying it out there for anyone who may happen upon this, who's never played Everquest and isn't turned off by the graphics. And actually, you know, I don't think the graphics are all that bad. I think they've aged very well. They're proportionate, they're interesting, they're immersive. I kind of chalk it up to a whole Super Mario effect, or Sonic Pinball, or a black and white film even. These days everything's digitally rendered in 3D, and there's massive explosions and sex scenes that are massive explosions. But you know, this game is it's a blast from the past. It takes things down a notch, and then it ups the ante with a lot of other things. And it's important for people to know how to navigate their way around this game, because it's not exactly user friendly. I remember when I first tried playing this game, it just owned up on me, and I rage quit it quite a bit, coming back to it after a few minutes of screaming into a pillow or crying in a shower. But yeah, I'm trying to save other people from having those similar experiences, those embarrassing moments where they have to try to block it out in the future. That wasn't me. I wasn't crying in the shower like a little boy who had gotten beaten up in grade school. And I'm not projecting any of my past onto this commentary. I assure you, I wasn't beaten up until much later. I actually had a really good time in grade school. It wasn't until, like, I don't know, high school was annoying. Yeah, and college is annoying too. I'm not going to knock it. There are good points to it, especially if you're in different majors and whatnot. But yeah, it's annoying. Video games aren't, though. But these death beetles, yeah, they're the pesky nuisance of this zone. They are absolutely frustrating. I can't stand them, and I don't even have smite in my gems, so I would just have to root them and just kind of stand there because, well, they're not undead. Now, keeping in line with the whole talk about spells, it's kind of hard for me to get used to playing a caster again, because you'll notice a lot of the gem graphics are the same. I'm sure many of you have played casters and know that, so I'm preaching to the choir or singing to the choir leader. I don't know. But yeah, I accidentally casted Flash of Light on my tank instead of Invis versus Undead, IVU, and that was an embarrassing moment, but he had a good laugh. And he has actually pulled a couple times saying with the incoming hotkey that he himself was coming and we should attack him. So we have their foul-ups here and there, but for the most part it's fun, it's interesting, and those foul-ups make us all realize that it's just a game. It's very fun, we can laugh at ourselves. And look at that. With all that laughter, with all those mess-ups, and even with the train that we had earlier, I dinged. That is a good feeling. That is a really good feeling. That is the confirmation that you are a badass, and so are your teammates. And even though at the end the kill shot was a little too much, it was overkill. I had casted my DD the same time that the enchanter did. We have lack of communication in our relationship. We still killed the mob nonetheless, and I got a refresh on my mana bar, which is just so nice. Oh god, I can't tell you. You get rewarded for good behavior. Something melees don't get. They usually have to just keep grinding away at it. grinding away at their axe. And my axe. Sorry, I had to do it. We have a dwarf in our group, and it just, I don't know. It demands that the quote be said, even as poorly as I said it. But hey, I'm not short, and I don't have a thick, burly beard. Although I am kind of growing one now. Yeah, I don't know. I may have to start shaving it so I can get back those sideburns. But whatever. We're gonna move away from talking about facial hair and body hair and all that stuff. I don't know what we'll talk about, but we're not gonna talk about that. But well, we're still continuing on here, as you can see. Nothing has gone down. That was too bad. And I'm liking it so far. I'm going to return to this zone in the future, but for now I've got my gnome parked elsewhere. I will not disclose that location. He's on hiatus. So we'll find out how things play out in the future. But we're going to get back to the monk here soon enough, because to be honest, I was kind of enviable of this guy, Thelonious Monk. I bet his last name's going to be Monk. I was kind of envious of his DPS, and it just harkened back to my time as playing a monk, even though I just recently have been playing it. It's not like, oh, back in the day, I used to play a monk. I didn't really know. And he's got a two-hand blunt there. I think that's, oh god, Wu's Quivering Staff. That has to be that. They're very affordable, like 500 platinum. For its DPS output, it is a really solid weapon. So, yeah, and I had that for quite a few levels. Very good weapon. I love that thing. Anyway, I was thinking earlier about Everquest and how it doesn't have any mountable horses, at least not in Classic. I know later on they brought them in. But I was curious because, you know, the fastest way you can move in this game, obviously, without is strafing. And I am a strafe master. I do love strafing in this game. And especially with footage, it just gets nice side view. You'll see that here in Dreadlands soon enough. But I was wondering if you could actually strafe on a horse, because that would be kind of weird. Horses can't strafe. At least not to my knowledge. There may be a horse out there who can, and, well, I don't understand a lot of the footage out there with horses. There's been some really disgusting ones I'm not going to get into. But, yeah, there's, I don't know. I'm not too up on my horses. Alpaloosa horses, I have known people who are really up on them, but as far as strafing is concerned, I have no clue. And, I don't know. It's strange that actually you can even move fast in this game by strafing. It just strikes me as odd. You can't do that in real life. In real life, if you were to strafe on a treadmill, you'd probably split your head open. Horse tracks don't have horses strafing. Football is played, you know, it's a very linear sport, so I don't think that would work. I don't know. And even like relay races, that would be hilarious. It just, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. But a lot of this game is not very realistic. It's based on reality, but it's not very realistic. I don't know, just a weird thought I had in my head, and made even more weird by the random gibberish that comes out of my mouth. Especially that stuff about horses. I don't even know what I was going there. But anyway, we're still grinding away at these mobs. It looks like we're again in a bit of a bind here, but I think we pull through with this one. I think we're safe. We didn't have too much, and luckily got no ads as we did last time. I think that ad really did it. It would have been interesting to see if we could actually make it through that cluster of mobs and survive. I was really hoping that was going to happen, because we were doing such a good job. We were just holding on by the short and curlies. We were just barely going to make it. And I know I promised not to mention hair, body hair, facial hair, but well, it was expression. It was an expression. I wasn't literally meaning it. And well, let's move on. And yeah, I was also thinking, it's very strange. There's no continuity. I was having a conversation with somebody about this, I don't know, like a week ago, and it just cropped back up in my mind again. There's no continuity in the fantasy world as far as gnomes and elves and dwarves are concerned. And I say this because, I mean, think about it. You have Keebler elves, right? But they look like gnomes. And then you have lawn gnomes, but they look like dwarves. And then you have the 7 dwarves from Snow White, but they look like gnomes, and then you got Smurfs, and it's like, well, what the hell is that? I have no idea, but I mean, I like the differences, but it would be nice to have some kind of continuity so I know what I'm looking at, you know? Halflings are essentially hobbits, you know, from Tolkien. That's it. But I don't mind the name change. It's fine. It fits. It works. I'm good with it. It's when you start mixing all that stuff up, and it's like, well, I'm having a cookie here, but it was made by a gnome in my mind, but they say elves. I don't know. And And they're not even made by gnomes. They're made by people in factories. It just doesn't make any sense. It's all a lie. The cake is a lie. And so are the cookies. But yeah, speaking of cookies, my gnome is now pretty efficient at baking. So if any of you want cookies, just give him a tell. Hit him up. He's got cookies. He's got milk. And I'm going to start working on trying to make some gnome-shaped cookies, some animal-shaped cookies, because I'm just badass like that. I eat ginger snaps and I kill undead mobs left and right. With one hand I eat a ginger snap, and the other one I fight off the undead horde that awaits me. And that's just my character role-playing. So anyhow, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna scray. I've got enough experience. I was happy to ding, and these guys are continue on. I had to get going. I don't have a girlfriend who needs breakfast, but I do have other activities that await me, and well, I can't fend them off with one hand while eating a jipper snap? A ginger snap. That would be an interesting cookie. A jipper snap. You old whippersnapper. I think that's where I got the that fusion of a word, that evolution of a word. But yeah, that's about it for now. No more ginger snaps, no more cookies, and no more undead. We're gonna move on. We're gonna go somewhere else and look for undead and other parts of Norath. And I thank you all for watching and tolerating me, and especially for the thanks and the views and all that wonderful stuff. It really does help me and continuing on. I go, well, wow, somebody actually listens to me, and it isn't like, would this guy shut up? So yeah, I'm gonna shut up now, and I'll see you all later.